Hi guys, welcome back to the sessions on interview questions and answers for B schools. In this session, we are talking about the very important interview question of what are your strengths and weaknesses. You are on the Arun Sharma Mindworks channel, and I hope you are enjoying the videos we are bringing. If you're doing that, please do share the videos with people you think will benefit from these. So the strengths and weaknesses question is a very important question in B school interviews. In fact, not just in B school interviews. In any interview that you take, that you prepare for, because people want to know as a character, as a personality, what kind of strengths and weaknesses do you have. Unfortunately, what I've seen is most people, even at the graduate and postgraduate levels, and even at B school placements, even at that level, I've done a lot of interviewing at people passing out of IIMs, etc. also. And I've seen that most of the time people write strengths and weaknesses which are very much similar to what I'll get at a Delhi public school or a modern school, 10th class student, or even a lower level school and a 10th class student writing it. So as a graduate, you're supposed to have understood your strengths and weaknesses much more than saying that I'm hardworking and weakness as a procrastination or being lazy or being emotional, etc. You have to move beyond that, because those are strengths and weaknesses that 9th standard kids write, not graduates who are going for top B schools. So how do we answer this? And the other question is, should we talk about our weaknesses in this answer? So my answer to this is a very big yes. You should actually talk about a lot of weaknesses. A lot of people come up in the interview कि मेरे पास एक ही weakness है. So it's not that you are perfect. You've not become the perfect human. Or you've not become God, so that you've got no weaknesses. So if you are only talking about one weakness, it basically shows ignorance and shows that you are actually somebody who has not even learned about his weaknesses. So you are still a 7th, 8th standard kid, because if you ask a 9th standard kid, his weaknesses will be very similar to the way you talk about it. So instead of that, if you can actually go deeper into your behavior patterns, into your thinking patterns, it can make a huge difference to how you can impress the interviewer with an answer to this question, right? And what are your strengths and weaknesses? One of the initial questions of an interview, and as they say, the first impression is the last impression. You can actually make a huge impression. So I have a model on which I tell people to think about this, about strengths and weaknesses. Essentially, your strengths and weaknesses is built around your personal effectiveness, how effective you are as an individual when you're doing your work. So when we talk about strengths and weaknesses, your strengths and weaknesses or effectiveness in doing your work essentially depend on four broad areas: the quality of your thinking, the quality of your thought, the quality of your action, the quality of your communication, and the quality of your leadership. It depends on four things. So when we talk about quality of thought, what are the things that could be strengths or weaknesses inside this? These are traits I'm talking about, and you can choose these as your strengths or weaknesses which you're going to talk about in the interview. So quality of thought could include stuff like, I'm a very good structured thinker, but my lateral thinking ability is not so good, or vice versa. I am a very good lateral thinker, but my structured thinking ability is not so good. So structured thinking ability, lateral thinking ability, the ability to stay in the present. I'm a person who always stays in the present. Great strength to talk about. Or even if you want to put it as a weakness, sir, I believe that I have a problem, that I find it difficult to stay in the present. The moment you say that, the interviewer elevates you from a 10th standard kid, because he thinks that this guy knows a little bit about himself. And the kind of character traits he's talking about, if he's aware of the fact that he has a problem of not staying in the moment, he's already come into the top 1% people in the world who get aware about it, right? 99% of the people in the world will never come to know about this being a character trait, right? So even if you present it as a weakness, it's much better than saying that I'm lazy, or I'm emotional, or like a student of mine wrote in an Indian School of Business form, no less, Indian School of Business Hyderabad form. She literally came to me with that third weakness on the form. Of course, thankfully, it was a form which we were in the process of building before we were submitting it. And a third weakness that she had come with to me, writing it, was that I've got a very big nose. Now that is completely stupid. It's like a 9th standard kid, a 9th standard girl talking about her weaknesses. So you have to be very, very considerate or very, very solid about the traits you are talking about, both as strengths and weaknesses. So when you say something like this is a weakness, I have a problem staying in the moment, I have a problem staying in the present, it shows that you have thought about yourself, and you, as I said, you've already elevated yourself to the top 1% of the world. Because 99% of people in the world, I'm just repeating this at the cost of sounding repetitive, but 99% people in the world will never understand that staying in the present is one of the critical elements of success. And if you have understood it, it's a matter of practice. Even the director at IIM is still practicing it, of how to stay in the present. So you're doing this, you're kind of facing the same challenge as he is facing. So your challenges have moved beyond your school level challenges. Other things that are there, and I'll do a separate video on this with all these points taken up on my whiteboard. But other things that you can talk about when you're talking about your quality of thinking is your self-studying ability, your ability to have an internal locus of control rather than being externally driven, your ability to identify beliefs that you possess as beliefs, and the ability to shift beliefs or change beliefs from negative to positive. These are things that you talk about. And of course, you also talk about things like your ability to learn, etc. And then from quality of thinking, you come to quality of action, where you talk about the ability to focus on action in the moment. You talk about your ability to not be driven by your habits. So you can present this, that I'm a person who is not constrained by his habits in a situation. If I need to, I can actually train myself to not sleep for 5 days, even though I'm by default a lazy person. So that is showing that you're not constrained by habits, etc. So think inside these dimensions and think outside the normal words that you come across, right? And again, how you present these is very important. So if I say I'm a good learner versus I say I'm a quick learner versus I say if I want to present this as a weakness, as a strength, I say I have an extreme capacity to learn anything. The three things sound completely different from each other. I'm a good learner, I'm a quick learner, slightly better. I have an extreme capacity to learn anything. The interviewer is going to catch hold of this. It's like a fishing rod or a kind of a what do you call it? I'm losing words here, but it's like a bait. Yeah, it's like a bait for a interview. Extreme capacity to learn. Batao kya seekhe ho? And if you have the next stories ready, you're done. You're done on this small script of the interview. Next 2 minutes you are selected in the interview. So that's how you actually take the interview questions. You have to take them on rather than defend these questions. Right, and then of course you can talk about your quality of communication, where you can dimensionalize it also. Your ability to speak in public, your communication one-to-one, one-to-many, one-to-few. What are your communication abilities, etc. Your ability to speak in English or inability to speak in English as a strength or a weakness. And then the last part is your quality of leadership. So you talk about your strengths and weaknesses from these dimensions. And as I said, I'll give you all the dimensions and all the words in a separate session on my interactive board, but this is how you formulate your strength and weakness answer. Please remember, what you don't do is you don't write your answer like a 10th standard kid. Remember that. Think a little bit through. Think a little bit through your own experiences. What have you realized that you have capacities to do? So a lot of people miss this. People coming from rural backgrounds who think that they've got nothing on their personality, but have that extreme capacity to work hard. It's a very important characteristic that any B school or any interviewer will want. कौन नहीं चाहेगा ऐसा student या ऐसा employee who is working very hard, who's willing to work very hard and works much harder than others? Everybody will want him. So you have to look for those things inside yourself. There are a lot of things inside you. Even if you feel that you've got nothing extraordinary in you because you have not achieved anything big, please look for the extraordinary things inside you, and you'll find a lot of things which you can present very well. And as I promised, I'll bring that other video very soon on this. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this question and it changed your perspective about how you want to answer this question. We'll stop here for the time being. Please do share the videos and do subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with more questions and answers in this series. Bye-bye.